And you're watching Ndtv Hindu.
Hi there, you're watching You Special on Ndtv Hindu. We are at the MOP Vaishnav College for Women and we have a very serious issue at hand today to discuss, but before that, the headlines.
Good morning, you're watching Headlines at 11. I'm Evelyn Matthew. On to our top stories. Seemingly safe city of Chennai is shocked after 3 murders took place in the city within 24 hours. The last reported incident was of a 42-year-old woman who was stabbed in her stomach at least 3 times at her apartment in KK Nagar on Tuesday. In the other incident, rowdy Vijay Kumar was killed by a group of attackers in Tiruvika Nagar. The third incident reported is that of a fruit seller who was killed in Tamram late on Monday night. But there seems to be some hope as the police claim to have cracked the murder of the fruit seller. 4 people have been arrested in connection. Police are on the lookout for other killers. My colleague Salim joins us on the phone line. Salim, what are the latest developments on the Tamram murder case?
Yes, Evelyn, 24-year-old Tyagarajan, a fruit seller, was hacked to death by a gang day before yesterday near Tamram bus stop. Now the suburban police claim to have arrested 4 people of that gang, and the suburban commissioner of police, Mr. Jankit, will be addressing the press very shortly. And the other 2 murders which happened in the city is yet to be cracked. Evelyn?
All right, thanks Salim for joining us with those details. Moving on to another story, during the hearing of defamation cases filed against actor Khushbu for her remarks on premarital sex, the Chief Justice observed it was a wide statement. Whether offence is made out or not, we have to see in what context it was said. The court directed Khushbu to produce the transcript of the full interview she had given in 2005. The magazine had carried Khushbu's interview on premarital sex. Multiple cases were filed against Khushbu for her statement. Khushbu's lawyer, Pinky Anand, spoke to NDTV Hindu. Here's what she had to say.
Not at all. I mean, the court, in fact, did not find anything objectionable. The court only asked a query that they wanted to know the context in which these statements were made. And in any case, that should, according to our view, be a favorable situation, because Khushbu was only responding to questions which were put to her by the journalist. As you know, some part of the publication has even been denied by her by a legal notice given, to which no response was given by Dina Tanti.
Well, that's it from me at the moment. Over to the latest campus buzz from MOP Vaishnav College for Women on our show You Special. Over to you, Ramanathan.
Thank you. All right, so those were the headlines. Now moving to the show, a few days ago, Sub-Inspector Vetrivel was hacked to death in broad daylight on the streets of Tirunelveli. 2 politicians passed by, but they stood by and did nothing. The video journalist who shot the footage, which all of us saw on national television, also did not seem to bother to do anything about the man who was dying in front of him. Isn't it shocking that such things can still happen in the world's largest democracy? And that's what we are here to discuss at the MOP Vaishnav College for Women. Most of them here are students of journalism, and we are here to discuss the various aspects involved to this case. The first thing I want to ask all of you guys is, what do you think about the fact that something like this can, something like this, that an inspector is hacked to death in the middle of the road, can still happen in India?
Well, I think it says a lot for the human aspect of our country. You know, a sub-inspector, a person who is supposed to serve and protect our country, is lying on the road bleeding to death. I think it just says a lot about our humanity as such. You know.
Okay.
Actually, murder for mistaken identity is very rare, and this to happen to a sub-inspector is very shocking in a country like India.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think it's really atrocious that such things are happening, and that too in our proximity. It's very close to us, and there are few things that actually strikes us really hard. One thing is, the journalist was shooting it for a whole 20 whole minutes, and then the politician was standing in there and watching it. Third, even the public wasn't doing anything to help that guy who was bleeding to death.
Okay. Now, you have raised a lot of issues there. We'll get to all those issues one by one. But first I want to know, when you watched that on national television, on all our channels, how did you feel?
I think more than anything, it shows the amount of respect our country has for the police forces. I mean, this is not the first time something's happened to, the police. And they serve us. We should at least protect them. They're here to protect us, and they get hurt like this. It could happen to any of us any day. And for people to just pass by, especially politicians, it's shocking.
Okay. Anyone else?
Apart from that, in fact, Mr. Vetrivel also was in the special task force that got rid of Veerappan. And he being hacked like this is really sad.
Okay. You want to say something? Yeah.
There was another thing. There was a doctor on board apparently, and he was not even called upon to at least take care of that person. At least give him emergency aid. That itself is very shocking to me actually.
Okay. Now see, this issue has you want to say something? Yeah, please. Good.
Nothing. I just wanted to say, like everyone says it's shocking and all that. This is not the first time that is happening in our country. Earlier, if you see in about in the Coimbatore communism clash and all that, a cop was killed. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, again another SI was killed by thieves on the road. He was robbed and he was also murdered. So this is not the first time this is happening. And in fact, it happened in broad daylight. And people like ministers, people who are in post, people who are supposed to set example to the public, they were just sitting and watching there. And when people there were other policemen also who were actually watching it. And when they themselves could not do anything, what would the public do? Because they would think, okay, ministers themselves are not doing anything. What will I do? I might also get into trouble. That is what will be their
She's raising a very interesting point, and I think we should get into that as well. Now, we are here playing, on a moral high ground, saying, oh my God, look at this, what is happening in the country. The policemen didn't do anything, the politicians didn't do anything, the video journalists didn't do anything. How many of you think that even if I was there here, if one among us was there, we could have done something about it? How many of you, think we could have actually done something?
I feel that, actually the ministers were sitting in the car and they were watching him. If I was there, I would have taken him in my car to the nearest hospital. I would have done that. At least I would have made an attempt to, bring him to a hospital before he died.
Okay, how many of you actually agree with her?
I have a different point to say.
You have something else to say?
Yeah, more than talking about why didn't politicians do, why didn't the public do anything, what were the other police people themselves doing? What is happening?
What I'm asking is, we do have the right perhaps to blame the police and all the other parties involved in this. But what I'm asking is, how many of you think if I or you were in that place, we also would have actually done something? Do you really think all of us would have the guts to do something?
No, I don't think we would have done, because it's just plain apathy. See, you see a person dying on the road and you do not want to help him because, then you have police case, you have inquiries and you have court cases. Nobody, a middle class person as such would not want to get into all that. Then you support somebody, you go against a big shot, and then you'll have gundas knocking at your door, and then basically everything just goes. So it's not very clear as to why that happens. Nobody just wants to get involved, just plain as that, just apathy.
Okay, isn't that sad? Isn't that, pathetic? That, yeah.
I totally agree to what she says, but then looking at the other point, you cannot forget humanity. I mean, a police person, a public servant, though he's just lying on the road, it's your duty to kind of help him out, being an individual, a human being in the first place. Though he's bleeding to death, it really does not give justice to yourself to kind of just let him just stay there and with other fellow people just probably watching him. I really wonder the plight of Mr. Vetrivel, who probably just lied there and just looking around for help, whereas he just didn't get any aid at all.
Yeah, she has something. Yeah, please go ahead.
I just want to say that it usually happens that everybody is scared of their own life. They don't want to get in trouble because of all this. How many people of us, we see accidents on the road and take the person to the hospital? I don't think anybody does it. Because I guess we have such an environment, everybody is scared of their own life. They don't want to get in troubles because of some unknown person, which is obviously sad, but I don't think anything can be done for it.
Don't you think then there is something fundamentally wrong with our society? See, I remember when the Australian attacks happened, there were lots of blogs, lots of other people writing in that Australians are, that, and Australians are this. Even if a person is lying on the streets dying, they don't care. I mean, what right did we have to tell Australians were like that? So what I'm saying is, don't you think that there is something fundamentally wrong with the way we function as a society itself? Someone who can tell me about that. Yeah.
I think definitely, because we have no right to talk about the Australians when this kind of things happen here. And the fact that the ministers who we voted into power are doing things like this is shocking. And more than anything, the irony is that it was the health minister, and he was the one, a while ago talking about how, they should be saved immediately. And when he himself doesn't, extend a hand, who can? Who will?
All right. Okay, this was just the warm-up segment. We have lots more to talk about in this issue. We'll be right back on News Special.